Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. German food.
Who is the Commonwealth's next witness going to be?
Robert Christonek.
And will you get him to spell his name?
Sure. Would you like me to spell it for you now?
That'd be great.
K-R-Y-S-T-Y-N-A-K.
Thank you. Back on the record, anything to take up before we return the jury?
I'll just let the court know that I just spoke with Mr. Christonek, and he advised me in the same manner that Mr. Embry did.
Okay. Michael, I forgot to mention to you, make sure that you prepare the transport paperwork to return Mr. Embry to his institution.
We've already got it, Judge.
Oh, good, thank you. I have such a good staff. We're ready for the jury.
Everyone please rise. We're ready.
Back, everybody can be seated. Did the jury follow the admonition during the break? Yes. Thank you very much. Commonwealth's next witness.
The Commonwealth calls Robbie Christonek to the stand.
Robbie Christonek. Mr. Christonek, if you'll let me place you under oath, you'll raise your right hand. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be truthful?
I do.
Thank you. Have a seat. Be comfortable. I encourage you to sit up close to the microphone. It's adjustable for your height. Keep your voice up good and loud so we can all hear your testimony.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Robbie Christonek,
And where are you currently housed?
Low Sandy.
Will you scoot up a little bit closer to the mic? Thank you very much.
Is that a prison in Kentucky?
Yes.
How long have you been in custody?
22 months.
And during that 22 months, at some point, were you housed with Joshua Gowker?
I have nothing to say. I decline.
Mr. Christonek, you don't have the legal right to decline. You're a witness. You have to testify.
I decline. I have nothing to say.
I hold you in contempt of court.
That's fine.
Pending, if you want to purge that, you can decide to come and testify.
That's fine.
Okay, take him back. Commonwealth's next witness.
Jason Beerman.
Jason Beerman. If you'll let me place you under oath, if you'll raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be truthful?
I do.
Thank you. Have a seat. Be comfortable. I encourage you to sit up close to the microphone. Keep your voice, it's adjustable for your height. Keep your voice up good and loud so we can all hear your testimony. And if you'll make sure he spells his last name for me.
Yes, sir. Can you please state your name for the record and spell your last name?
Jason Beerman, B-I-E-R-M-A-N. But actually, my name is Jason Moss.
Okay. Are you in the system as Beerman?
Yes, ma'am.
But which one is your legal name?
Moss.
Where are you currently living?
Louisville Metro Department of Corrections.
And are you serving a sentence? Are you in
Yes,
prison at this time?
at Marion Adjustment Center.
And is that Marion Adjustment Center a prison in Kentucky?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been in custody?
Since December of 2011.
And at some time since you've been incarcerated in December of 2011, were you housed with Joshua Gowker?
Yeah, I met Josh Gowker February 2nd, 2012 at Hopkins County Jail. We was in the transit area. It was the booking area where transfers and intakes and stuff like that come in, inmates. And he was getting out of the hole, and we was both being transferred to the Rotor Correctional Complex.
And so how long were you all there at Hopkins Jail together?
He was in segregation for homosexual activities with another inmate.
How long were the two of you at Hopkins County Jail together?
That's what I'm saying. He was in segregation. I was in GP. I didn't know until that day that we was getting packed up and was going to the Rotor Correctional Complex.
So that was the only
morning.
day you all were you knew of each other at Hopkins?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. And then you were both transferred to Rotor?
Yes.
Okay. And how long were you both housed at Rotor?
I was for 7 months. He was probably around 6.
Okay. And during that time, did he talk to you about the murder of Trey Zwicker?
Yes, he did.
Did he tell you that he put his son up to kill Trey?
You just want me to like answer yes or no, or do you want me to like relay in what he said?
Tell the
Because
jury what he said.
there's different times.
Okay. Tell the jury what he said.
All right. Well, that morning that we was in Hopkins County Jail, he's talking about how he's passed some lie detector tests. On the van ride to the Rotor Correctional Complex, he was talking about how his son gave some bloody evidence, clothes, weapon, and to a cousin. The way he said it was like a kissing cousin, to get rid of it, and that the police DNA tested the dumpster, and there was no traces to be found. That was on the ride. He talked about an older lady giving him and his son a ride to Alabama, and how at first she was scared and timid, but then she started smoking weed with him and his son, and pretty much just had like a road trip, and talked about how he was arrested for some minor, but he was wanted up here, I think, for a parole violation, and they accidentally released him. So like the whole ride, he's joking, you know, it's amusing him about how the system is messed up, you know, by letting him out of jail, by him passing a lie detector test, by the no DNA evidence in the dumpster. Then we get to the Rotor Correctional Complex. There's a bunch of sections. There's within the sections, there's more sections. So we
You're
wasn't
talking about the setup of how people are housed there?
Right.
Okay.
So we wasn't around the same time. Now, Before this incident, I was pretty well respected in prison. I was,
We approach.
Come up, please.
Sir, if you could focus on what it is that Josh Gauker told you about the murder of Trey Zicker, please.
okay. We were in different units, and he ended up getting in trouble and went to a unit. I ended up getting in trouble and we ended up in the same unit, L-Wing, Unit 3, I believe.
About how long is this after the transport that you all had together to Rotorua?
Probably about 4 months,
Okay.
3 to 4 months. And it's starting to come out on the news, and it's on the news where he was telling on his son, and he said that he was gonna man up and take the blame for it because he had an alibi, that he was going to try and get his son off, and then later fight his case back in court and just get hit with the perjury because he had an alibi.
Did he say what the alibi was?
He was making a sex tape, I think, with Trey's mother.
Okay.
Said that he said that Trey's mom had an abortion of his child, and that he wanted an eye for an eye, and he went to talk his son into killing Trey, and that he said that he didn't have to do much persuasion because his son was a demon child, that he was more than willing to do it. He said that his son despised Trey as much as he despised Terry, Trey's father.
Do you know Terry?
I
Trey's
do.
father?
I do.
How do you know him?
We was childhood friends.
And when Gauker told you all of this, did he know, if you know, had you told him that you're friends with Terry, with Trey's dad?
No.
After Gauker told you all of these things, did you in fact, how did you notify anyone that you had this information?
I wrote a letter to my aunt to get in touch with Terry to write me, and I wrote Terry.
So you actually told Trey's father this information that you've just told the jury?
Yes.
And after you sent that letter to Terry Zwicker, were you then interviewed by a homicide detective?
Yes.
Have you made any deals in exchange for this testimony here today?
No.
Have you been promised anything like a good word at the parole board or any changes to your case in exchange for this testimony?
No. I've actually been assaulted 3 times in prison, jumped twice by multiple
Just
inmates.
come up. Cross-examination.
Sir, you have known Terry Zwicker since about middle school, is that about right?
Probably 25 years.
Okay. Had not seen him hardly at all over all these years, right?
When his son was murdered, I sent him condolences through the mail, and then November of 2011, a month before I was arrested, I talked to him on the phone, just telling him how sorry I was and for his loss.
Okay. And what facility were you in November 11?
No, I was
You were out. Okay.
I was home. Yeah.
Okay. You realized later that you knew Mr. Gowker already, or you knew of him, and him you, right?
No, we never crossed paths.
Okay.
Just where I heard that he was released from a jail in Alabama or Arkansas or something. I seen that on the news, but that was the only thing I knew of Gowker at the time.
Okay. You did not know him previously?
No.
And I know you said demon child. Wasn't it demon seed that he indicated his son was a demon seed or something?
Probably so.
Okay. Did you laugh when he said that?
No.
And when you wrote to Terry Zwicker, you actually offered to beat Dr. Gowker up for him, right?
Yes, me and another inmate.
Okay. And instead, you decided to contact the police, right?
I didn't contact the police. No.
You.
I just wrote Terry, and Terry
Okay.
turned the letter in, I guess, to the police.
My question is, you never did attack Mr. Gowker, right?
Ended up going into PC, I believe.
Okay, because of you.
I didn't say that.
Okay. This all began the day you met him, before you got in a vehicle to go from one prison to another, all these conversations.
Yeah.
You just wrapped this conversation up.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
He sat right next to me in the van, and that's all he kept talking about.
Okay. And at the very beginning of your testimony a moment ago, I believe your words were, which time? Have you heard numerous versions of the same story from him?
Just on the news and stuff like that, but he didn't tell me anything different.
Okay. And I take it you're able to access the news from being incarcerated, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's all I have, Judge.
Redirect.
No, sir.
Any questions from the jury of Mr. Moss? Mr. Moss, thank you very much. You're free to go. Commonwealth's next witness.
Commonwealth calls Anthony Wilder.
Anthony Wilder. Detective Wilder, will come up. I'm going to place you under oath. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be truthful?
I do.
Thank you. Have a seat. Be comfortable. I encourage you to sit up close to the microphone. It's adjustable for your height. Keep your voice up good and loud so we can all hear your testimony.
Tell the jury your name, please.
I'm Detective Anthony Wilder, employed with the Louisville Metro Police Department.
Can you spell your last name for the record?
Wilder.
Where are you assigned within LMPD?
I'm assigned with the homicide unit.
How long have you been with homicide?
Almost 3 years now.
How long have you been a police officer?
Almost 9 years.
Were you with the homicide unit in May of 2011?
I was.
And did you have any role in this investigation?
Yes, I was involved.
Okay. What did you do back in May, on May 11th specifically?
On that particular day, I was requested to write a search warrant for the residence of Trey Zwicker, his residence. And then upon having that warrant signed, I assisted in the search of the residence.
And where did you all search within the residence?
I primarily searched in one of the outbuildings in the shed in the back of the property. Other detectives were searching other areas of the house and property.
What did you find in the shed?
Some type of sword, samurai type sword, was located when I was searching the garage building.
Did you also find a knife in the garage?
Yes.
What were you looking for as you searched the garage?
Any type of instruments capable of being used for blunt force trauma, anything that may contain any type of blood evidence or anything that appeared to be relevant to the case.
What did you know of the wounds to the victim at that time?
My personal knowledge was somewhat limited. I just knew that it was blunt force injuries.
Had you ever been down to the scene itself?
I never actually went to the scene.
How were you notified to go search the house?
I was contacted by Sergeant Marcus Latham and requested to draft the search warrant.
Is he one of the supervisors of homicide?
At that time, he was.
And do you remember what time of day you were searching the garage?
The search warrant was signed at about 1945 hours, so the search would have began shortly after that. 7:45 p.m.
So how long did you all search, would you say?
I do not recall the specific amount of time, but it was several hours at the residence.
Did you find any blood stains during their search?
I personally did not.
And within your observation, did anybody else?
Not that I can recall.
Did you do anything else there at 1356 Drive?
Not that day.
And turning to the next thing you did, were you involved in this case on May 13th, 2 days later?
Yes, I was.
What did you do?
At the request of Detective Russ, I assisted in transporting juveniles that were brought to the homicide office that were questioned as part of the investigation.
Where did you find these juveniles?
They were being detained at the Youth Detention Center.
Did you take part in the interviews?
I did not. I just assisted in the logistics of transporting them from the two locations.
Turning to June 23rd, did Detective Ross ask you to do anything to assist with the investigation on that date?
Yes, I was contacted by Detective Russ, and I was asked to meet with Cassie Gowker. She was expecting someone from the homicide unit to come to her residence, and she was going to take us on the route that she had taken Josh Young on the night of the murder and at the time that it was used to dispose of evidence.
So did you go to her house at 1360 Van Drive?
I did.
And did you observe the vehicle that she had used to transport the evidence?
Yes, it was still parked in the driveway.
Can you describe the vehicle?
It was a Chevy Astro van. It was a 1998 Chevy Astro van. It was white in color, kind of a box-type vehicle.
And how would you describe the interior?
It was not maintained. It was very disorganized and cluttered and very dirty.
Did she take you all on the route?
She did.
To the dumpster? And did you see a dumpster at the end of the route?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to show you. What I have marked as 115. Do you recognize that aerial photograph of a map?
Yes, this is appears to be a photograph that would an aerial view that would cover the route taken.
Does it accurately represent the area that you drove that night?
Yes.
Commonwealth moves to introduce this as 115.
Any objection? Introduced.
Would you be able to draw with this marker and the route that you took, and so that I can publish that to the jury? And as you do that, if you could just tell us which streets you went on, if you remember.
Okay. I just need just a second to.
As I pushed the wrong button. There you go. We're at Law Table 4, and you're in 4B and HDMI.
4B. On the monitors.
Well, we're making progress.
While we're working on that, I'm just going to show you these photographs that we've already introduced, and we'll probably make sure to attach those.
Yeah, those would be the Chevy Astro van that was parked at Cassie Gowker's residence, and then those are dumpsters that she indicated, pointed out to us at the end of the route.
I have no clue. I don't know why it's not coming up. I'm sure it's something I'm doing wrong.
Can you describe for the jury the roads that you drove on with Cassie?
They were all residential. It began through a residential street through the neighborhood in which she lived, and then we turned onto some of the larger secondary roads, Poplar Level Road.
If you could just say the roads, thank you.
Her address is 1360 Vim Drive. Coming out of the driveway, we turned right, continuing on Vim Drive. At a curve in that road, it changes to Dahl Road. We continued on Dahl Road until we reached Poplar Level Road. Once at Poplar Level Road, we turned right, continuing on Poplar Level Road until we reached Shepherdsville Road. Once at Shepherdsville Road, we took another right turn. We continued on Shepherdsville Road for a short distance until we came to the beginning of another residential area, mile of Sunshine Drive. That led back into a residential area. Then we turned into an apartment complex that was located on Caribbean Lane. And once in the complex, she directed us to a set of dumpsters.
Let me interrupt. Are you sure the power's on the presenter?
It's lit.
The projector's not on.
Okay. I'll send you a check later.
All right, well, Judge, I'm just going to...
But according to this
Well, it's
control
just
panel,
really
that
old-fashioned
projector
way.
is
Let them
on.
look. So is the red line that you drew on the map the route that you just described to us?
Yes.
Was this an apartment complex with several different dumpsters?
Yes, I only went to the ones directed, but I'm sure there were other dumpsters within that complex.
And what did you do when you arrived at these dumpsters?
Initially, we just identified the dumpsters, and then we returned back to the residence with Ms. Gowker. Once we dropped her off at our house, then we returned to that location. We attempted to locate any surveillance cameras or anything that may be mounted on any of the exterior of the buildings. We weren't able to locate any. We also called the crime scene unit, had them respond to that location, and took photographs of that area.
Did you have the crime scene unit respond and locate Cassie's van?
Yes. When we dropped her off, we had got permission to return and conduct a search of her vehicle. After we had finished looking around the area where the dumpsters were in the apartment complex, we returned to her residence. The van was photographed and searched at that time.
Judge, may I just pass these 108s, 113s to the jury?
You
since
may.
I can't display them.
Let me have, okay, there you go. Just when you all are looking at those, just pass them down to the other jurors when you're done. Go ahead.
What did you instruct CSI to do with Cassie's van?
It was photographed, and then myself, along with the CSU and Detective McKinley, conducted a search of it. And we during that search, we located nothing of evidentiary value related to the case.
What were you looking for?
Any type of bloody clothes or transfer of blood from the items that were transported the night of the murder.
And did you see any blood in the van?
No, we were not able to locate anything that had any type of suspected blood residue on it.
And why didn't you just swab the van? If there had been blood?
It had been some time since the passing of the actual event. At that point, the van was very dirty to begin with, and we found nothing to indicate a specific area to swab, so we did not see the point in swabbing the entire vehicle.
Thank you. That's all I have. The defense will have some questions.
Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. May I approach to get the right?
You may. I'm rebooting our system to see if that helps. I think I have it working. It was a system error. I should all know that.
We have to.
My story, I'm sticking with it.
I'd like to ask you some questions about your testimony.
Yes.
I know you prepared the search warrant.
Yes.
You got access to the premises.
Correct.
This was on the 11th.
Yes.
Did you report to Detective Russ when you were at the scene of the residence where the search occurred?
I don't recall if he was specifically there, if he was conducting other aspects of the investigation at that time.
You didn't play a major role in this investigation.
No, I just assisted as requested by the lead detective.
You got instructions on what you were supposed to do.
Yes, I was assigned task.
And of course, you did those without question. Follow orders.
I assist in the investigation as needed, yes.
I mean, are you given orders to do things, or are you just asked to do things, or?
It's not necessarily an order. I mean, Detective Russ is a peer. He's asking for assistance in a case. It's a group effort and teamwork required to conduct these investigations.
There's a chain of command.
There is,
Like the military.
yes.
If somebody asks you to do something, you will do it. You'll follow the lead's instructions, right?
Well, I follow instructions.
You were given the shed slash garage to inventory.
That was the area that I was searched, yes.
Did you have a crime scene unit photographer with you while you did the inventory?
I don't remember if they were specifically following behind me. I think, as I recall, once an item was located, the crime scene unit was notified and came and photographed it in place, and then it was collected.
You were told that you were looking for an object that may have caused blunt trauma.
Yes, blunt force trauma, yes.
The garage slash shed was cluttered.
Somewhat.
Did you inventory all items that were in the garage?
No, I did not.
You looked around to see if there was an item that might fit the description of something that could cause blunt force trauma?
Correct.
I want to show you a picture and see if you recognize it. It's Defendant's Exhibit 4. Can you get the light, please?
Now, if you'll take the backlight off of that, if you can do that, I think that'll help you. See how hard it is? There you go.
I don't think that helps.
Okay, sorry.
Do you remember seeing that yellow object? Not the big yellow rectangular or the square object, but this object right there where I'm pointing. You remember seeing that?
I do not specifically recall that, no.
Mr. Schuler, could you tell us which exhibit you're showing?
I did, Judge. It's
I'm sorry, I wasn't.
Exhibit 4. So you don't remember seeing that at all?
No, I do not specifically recall.
Did you say that you collected a sword, samurai sword?
Yes.
This is Commonwealth Exhibit 101. Is this the sword that you recovered?
Yes.
Is there a reason you, when you were looking for blunt force trauma object, that you recovered a sword?
It was a weapon that could be swung, and it's an item designed as a weapon. That's why it was collected.
This is Commonwealth's Exhibit 104. You notice these white holes, pipes, or whatever. Do you remember seeing those?
I do not specifically remember that item in the garage.
And then exhibit number 105, right next to the samurai sword that you collected, more poles.
Right.
In those?
I don't specifically remember focusing on those, but I mean, they're photographed as I found the sword. I'm sure that I looked at them.
But you made a decision not to collect anything that you saw in the garage other than the sword, correct?
Correct.
You met with Cassie Gowker at her house.
Yes.
You knew the purpose of your visit.
Yes.
You knew that you were going to ask her to drive the route that you took to the dumpster.
Yes.
You had another detective with you.
Correct.
Did you record? You did record a statement that Cassie made during the course of the drive.
Yes, once she entered the vehicle, a digital recorder was turned on and left on during the duration of the car trip.
At what point did she miss a turn?
May we approach?
Yes, come on.
you at one point miss a turn? Do you remember?
On the return trip back to Miss Gowker's residence, Detective McKinley was driving the vehicle and did miss a turn. She was not familiar with the area, and she was not given directions specifically to return on the way back and just missed one of the turns.
When you got to the spot where the two dumpsters were, I think you said that did you look around to see if there were any recording cameras that possibly you could really get some film and look at?
Yes, yes.
Did you ask her? Do we need to approach the bench on this? No. Okay. Did you ask her to show you in the van where these items were placed? In the van, was it on the seat? Was it in the back? Remember her telling you?
I don't remember her coming or being asked to point out the area physically. During the drive, she indicated that the items were just placed in the back of the van. There's a back door, and it was just placed inside the back door. She indicated in her statement that Mr. Young exited the van, went to the back of the vehicle, pulled the items out, and then threw them in the dumpster and returned to the van.
She didn't remember which of the two dumpsters it was in?
No, she did not remember which specific dumpster of the two.
Did you call a crime scene unit while you were there?
Not while Miss Gowker was with us.
You called a crime scene unit later?
Shortly after she was dropped off, they were called.
Did you return to the scene of the dumpsters with the crime scene unit?
Yes, they met us at that location.
Did you share the information that she had provided you with the crime scene unit?
To the extent that that these dumpsters were identified as her as being the location where the evidence from the crime was disposed of, and we needed the photographs of those dumpsters in the surrounding area.
Were you there the whole time the crime scene unit was there with the dumpsters?
Yes.
You saw what they did?
Yes.
They took photographs?
Yes.
Did they look inside the dumpster?
I believe I actually looked inside just to look, but it had been over a month since the time of the incident. But the dumpsters were opened.
Okay, you looked in both?
Yes.
But you didn't get in and root around or
No.
something like that? Crime scene unit didn't sit in and root around and look?
No.
When the crime scene unit got back to Cassie Gaffer's house, did you direct them to the spot where Cassie Gaffer said these two items of evidence had been placed?
We just they took overall photographs of the van, and then the van was searched. Nothing was found during the search, which necessitated close-up photographs of a specific area.
Was it your information that a bag with blood on it was transported?
It was.
Was it your information that a bag with frozen was transported?
It was.
Was it your information that the bag with the bloody bag was in a bag or laying loose in the bag?
It was. The items were contained within some type of bag.
Both of them?
Yes.
So there were two bags?
I don't know if it was one bag or if the items were in two separate bags. That I don't know.
But the information that you related to the crime scene unit was that the items of concern were both bagged.
Correct.
Is some evidence microscopic?
Yes.
Some evidence is invisible to the naked eye?
Yes.
And you know about the collection of fiber evidence?
I'm not an expert, no.
But you know that crime scene unit has the ability to collect fiber evidence,
I mean, yes.
air evidence. Yes?
I'm sorry, what kind of it?
Air evidence?
Yes, I understand that.
Okay. Sometimes the crime scene unit will actually tow a vehicle back to the police station. Does that happen in murder cases?
we tow vehicles to the auto theft garage for processing sometimes.
So at the auto theft garage, if you have, the crime scene unit has the ability to do that, to tow in a vehicle.
No, the officer or the detective authorizes and arranges the tow. The crime scene unit just works at the direction of the detective on scene as far as the processing of evidence.
So there was no direction, as far as your knowledge in this case, to tow in that vehicle?
No, I never had any intention of towing the vehicle.
Thank you.
Rick?
Why didn't you have any intention of towing in the vehicle?
It was searched on premises, so there was no need to do it at another location because what we would have done at the other location was done on site.
Okay, and why didn't you take fibers and hairs from the van to have those analyzed?
As I said, there was numerous articles of clothing and clutter, and there was nothing to indicate. Mr. Young had been in that van previously. It's family members, so there was, other members of the family had been in there. There would have been evidence of that nature, and that would have not been of value to the case.
Thank you.
Would it have been some value to the case if Trace Wicker's blood had been recovered in the van?
It would have been.
Okay, and actually, you were shown the spot in the van where the articles were
No, it was not.
housed. So she didn't actually point
I-
to tell you it was in the back.
As I earlier stated, she just said that it was in the back. I did not ever ask her to come out and specifically point to an area.
Well, did you think that perhaps the location of the items in her van might be of importance in the investigation?
From our conversation, she was not aware of a specific location other than just the back. She was in the driver's seat. Mr. Young placed the items opened the back door, put them in the back of the vehicle. She remained in the driver's seat. He got out, disposed of the evidence, and got back in the van. So she didn't indicate any knowledge of a exact location where the bag with the evidence was placed.
Okay, but she said he walked around to the back,
Yes.
opened the door to the back,
Yes.
reached in and deposited these items.
Correct.
She didn't say he threw them up inside the van.
Correct.
Did he just put them in the back?
Yes.
Any questions from the jury? Okay, if you write them down. I can have the attorneys up here, please. Detective, I have two questions from the jury. I'll read you the question, then if you'll let them have your answer.
Okay.
Was the back door of the van searched for Josh Young's fingerprints?
No, the vehicle was not specifically dusted for fingerprints. As I had said just a moment ago, Mr. Young had prior access to the vehicle as a family member's vehicle, so finding his fingerprints or evidence that he had been in that van before was not necessarily vital evidence in this case. He had been accessed and had been in that vehicle on other occasions.
So that was your choice not to collect fiber hair from the van?
Correct. That was my decision at that time.
Okay. May we release Detective Wilder? Thank you very much. You're free to go. We are going to take our lunch break a little bit early today. remember your admonition and be ready to come back in at 1 p.m. All rise for the departing jury. Move the camera of the presenter, it probably makes more sense for your camera to move.
Okay.
But I'll let you decide that. Okay. And we can talk about it more when we come back from lunch. But if you need to make that change, I'm fine with that.
I tried to stand to the side. The presenter wasn't working.
Maybe that's what it was. You weren't standing in the right spot. Anything we need to take up before we break for lunch?
I don't think so. What time did you tell the jury what time to come back?
1.
1 o'clock.
Direction on what to put on Mr. Christenek's commitment.
Yes, I'm working on that.
Okay.
Direct criminal contempt. How about this? Well, if you let me have the order, I'll write it in.
When you get a chance, Terry said the jury called for this thing, and I have one question.
Tell me where you can be if I'm standing here.
I'd like to be present, asking the question, see
What I'm standing here.
Does that sound fair?
What if we were to move the court presenter back up to the stand, the cart that it comes on?
I would.
That's one option. The other option is just let them move their camera. Since you guys persist in standing in front of them.
I was just doing it. I don't know if you want me to write it all.
Yes.
Okay.
Give me a fresh one and I'll write in how he's being held.
I'll talk to him.
I was standing right there ready to show it.
She was on the side. So you're the one who's blocking it, and you stand here.
Well, he can't help me, he's 6'4".
It's a little tall.
Well, you know, they didn't want to stand in the
Could you
side.
get on your knees?
Don't stand here, stand here.
Just tap me and let me know I'm moving.
Well, I don't, because I'm my camera, I don't care. Not my show.
Your Honor, I think it's best if we just stay where we are and we'll deal with it.
Just tell me to move. I'm blocking it.
I can't tell you to move while you're in the middle of your
Maybe you can just tap me or something. I don't care.
I need a stripper
He's got a point.
Pete, do you want to ask him now before you?
Yeah.
So, if it's okay with you, we're just gonna stay
If I
where
go
we
in the conference room.
We're dealing with some other issues in that, for some reason, our signal to our truck has gone to black.
So.